NASCAR heads to the streets of Chicago this week for its first ever street race, one of the biggest events in NASCAR history, and it's already been a wild weekend. Let's do a bit of a preview for Chicago's inaugural street race. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert. Happy 4th of July weekend, and we have finally made it to NASCAR's inaugural Chicago street race, the first ever street race in NASCAR history, and it's created a lot of buzz since this announcement was made last year. Some good press, some bad press, but we have finally made it, and looking at what we have so far this weekend, I think it's going to be a great event. I'm excited for this event. We don't know how the racing will be yet. We'll obviously take a look at the street course, take a look at how everybody did in practice and qualifying today. But let's just talk about the atmosphere for just a moment, because watching the beginning of the Xfinity race, which is still on as of the time I'm filming this video, watching the qualifying, the practice sessions, the atmosphere is so there and it's so surreal. You can feel it. You can see all the people, all the Chicago natives, and many other people coming to Chicago to watch this, I'd say, grand marquee event, especially for this season. Taking videos, pictures, it is honestly amazing, and it's exciting. NBC's doing a fantastic job at hyping this event up. I'm really excited for tomorrow. I hope it's a great race, and I hope it's a great event, and I'm confident it will be. But let's go ahead and take a look at the street course itself. So this will be the track. Obviously, the Xfinity drivers are on that at the time I'm filming this video, and of course, the Cup guys will be on this racetrack tomorrow. So you see here a lot of long straightaways. It's going to be a bit difficult to pass, I think, on the long straightaways. So you're going to have to try to make moves in these kind of dive bomb corners. I believe there's 7 complete 90-degree turns on this street course. Obviously, 12 turns total, but we've already seen some trouble in a few of these turns. Notably, turn number 8. We've seen a lot of trouble in that turn heading onto the little half circle there. I'm not sure what you call that. There's been a lot of trouble there in practice. We saw Chase Elliott have some trouble in another corner. We saw Ricky Stenhouse have trouble in that corner. A few other drivers hit the inside of that wall and then slide all the way into the outside of that wall. So that could be a big key spot tomorrow in the Cup race. We'll have to continue to watch that, see how the Cup drivers maneuver around that. They learned a lot from practice. At the start of the practice session today, they were running much slower lap times than they were at the end of qualifying today, and that's something also really important to note, and that was a lot of fun to watch as well. The development, with obviously the first time we've ever gone to a racetrack even somewhat similar to this, started out really slow, learned very quickly, and obviously the lap times increased by a ton at the end of it. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. This was qualifying, and this really correlates with practice, and you've seen this season even more than the seasons we had before the COVID situation where we got rid of practice. You're seeing a lot this season where the driver that's fastest in practice and qualifies well are typically faster in the race. Not every week, but it tends to correlate a little more than it has in the past. So we obviously have Denny Hamlin on pole. He's obviously going to be a threat. We know that track position is going to be key in this race because it is going to be difficult to pass, especially in a racetrack of this magnitude with the long straightaways, with the dive bomb corners. It's going to be difficult to pass. It's going to take laps upon laps to potentially work your way up to somebody and get by them, which can be for a great race, but it's going to be tough if you're starting back in the pack. So like I said, the Toyotas all really fast in practice, really fast in qualifying. In fact, all of the Toyotas were in the top 10 in the first practice, except Bubba Wallace, who was 25th. He found a little more speed, qualified 14th. But Denny Hamlin's obviously on pole for tomorrow. Tyler Reddick, his driver, is in the second position on the outside row. He'll be starting next to him on the front row. And then you have a couple of your F1 drivers. You have Shane Gisbergen, who was fastest in practice. He qualified third. Looked like he was going to get the pole there for a little bit, but wasn't quite able to get it done. I'm not sure how these Formula One drivers, these incredibly talented drivers, will handle in a NASCAR Cup race just because it's so different. There's probably going to be a lot more contact made. It's going to be really different in traffic than it is running by itself, but it should be fun to watch to see how they do. Obviously, he's been very successful. Both of the F1 drivers, including Button, has been very successful in Formula One in the past. It'll be interesting to see what they can do in NASCAR this week. Christopher Bell, another one of those Toyotas. Want to continue to watch him. Watch all those Toyotas on Sunday. It's going to be fun to see what they can do and if they're up there battling with each other. Daniel Suarez looking for his second career win. He was fast, won at Sonoma last year, if you remember that, a road course race, and he's been decent at road courses in the past. We'll see what he can do A little bit disappointing at the road course races this year, but we'll see what Daniel Suarez can do. A good effort so far this week. A lot of speed in the 99 Chevrolet. Michael McDowell, obviously, he's been impressive aggressive at road courses before. Had some really good finishes at road courses last year and this year. Want to watch him for at least a solid finish. Remember, he's on the playoff bubble, so he's trying to gain points even if he doesn't get a win. You want to continue to watch that. You have Kyle Larson, Jensen Button, like I said, making his second NASCAR start. He actually raced at Circuit of the Americas earlier on this season, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do in his second NASCAR Cup Series start. Obviously, both of those at road courses. And then, of course, you have Joey Logano starting in the 9th position, and then you have AJ Allmendinger, and I've once again said this, he's going to be a big one, because once again, another one of those drivers racing for points on the cut line right now. So a big point stay could be in the making for AJ Allmendinger. You got 2 stages where you can gain points, and you've got a race win or at least a decent finish on the line for AJ Allmendinger. He's so talented, and I cannot express enough how talented he is at these road course races. Not only do I think he's a threat to potentially get a win, he could get a lot of points tomorrow and get a decent finish and gain on that points bubble and try to make the NASCAR playoffs. Remember, there's 9 races to go, so a lot of drivers are starting to maybe get a little more desperate for that win or desperate for those points to make it to the NASCAR playoffs. So that's really it. That's all there is to talk about. I just wanted to do a bit of a pre-race for the Chicago street race tomorrow. I obviously do a race review following NASCAR's inaugural street race tomorrow, so please tune into that. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Share the video if you want somebody else to see it, of course. And, of course, about, unfortunately, Kyle Busch starting 18th tomorrow. Let's get rowdy.